Hi guys! Today I thought it would be fun to share about 3 of the biggest lessons that I learned as a digital nomad and as an entrepreneur, because I kind of think sometimes they go hand in hand. And so if you are out there either as one of those or thinking about it, but maybe you're nervous about doing it, I just want to share 3 things that will hopefully help you and encourage you and inspire you and just give you all the encouragement that you need to go after your dreams. So the first one is, don't make the nerves wrong. Okay, because I sometimes think that when people feel those nerves come on, they think it's a bad thing and they think that it's a sign that they shouldn't do something, when really those nerves are oftentimes, like, I think a sign that you're really onto something good. And I don't mean the nerves in like a negative kind of constricted way, but if you get these butterflies in you and you feel kind of expansive when you think about something, or inspired or more alive, I think that those kinds of nerves are just about the best kind of feeling you can have for confirmation that you are on to something, like you are on the right path. And so if you cannot make those wrong, but you can just make them part of the process, then you're not always kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of feeling. So I'll give you a few examples. Like for me, my husband and I, at one point, we both were working on online businesses as our own bosses, and so we decided to sell our belongings and work and live from the road. And so we decided first to go to Barcelona, and then every 2 weeks or so just kind of find a different Airbnb throughout Europe. And I remember like landing in Barcelona and getting there, kind of getting into our little flat, like hiking up hundreds of stairs with our suitcases and sitting down, having just flown, hours and hours away from home, having sold everything pretty much to our name, and just realizing the gravity of all of it and thinking, oh my gosh, I hope we have not made a mistake. Like, I hope that I haven't done something wrong here. And give it a few days, later, and we are eating dinner at 9 p.m. We're getting gelato on the way home. We're walking along the water. We're having tapas and $3 glasses of wine, and we're like having the time of our life. And this has happened over and over again to me. It was the same thing when I moved to New York in my 20s. It was the same thing when I started a business, or anytime I invested in something that was a stretch for me. I had that kind of feeling of like, am I doing the right thing, or did I make a mistake? But I absolutely didn't. Like, I just had to give myself time to acclimate to a different level or a different style of life. And so I just really encourage you that if you're always afraid of those nerves, if you're always interpreting them as danger or stay away or don't do something, you're never going to have these kinds of new experiences in life that expand you and enrich you and are the best decisions you could have ever made. And so I just think, trust your body instincts. Like, if something feels bad, if it feels negative, if it feels dark and heavy, or you just get apathetic when you think about it, that's probably a sign that that's not right for you. But on the contrary, if you feel excited, if you feel inspired, like for me, expansive is a word that comes a lot, where I can't quite pinpoint the feeling, but I feel like my life, I can see it getting bigger if I go in that direction. For me, even when I feel those nerves, then that's a sign that I'm still on the right path. And so just don't make that fear wrong. Use it to kind of point you in the right direction, and use it as confirmation of, oh, okay, I'm just outgrowing where I am now. I'm just outgrowing the life that I've created for myself up until this point. I am just outgrowing the same place, the same people, the same routine. And now, of course, there's that feeling of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Because your brain is trying to protect you, right? Like, it's trying to be like, okay, unknown equals danger. Really, unknown can be the best thing that you've ever done in your life for yourself. Unknown can lead you on that path that you really want to be on. And so don't make the nerves wrong. Go in the direction of your hopes, of your inspiration, your excitement, and just know that whether it's a few days or a few weeks or a few months, you will grow into it, and you will be so glad that you took that leap, whatever it means in your life. Okay? The second thing that I would say is a really big lesson for me is how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. So it's so easy and so tempting to think about the one day and to think about, in the future I'll do these things, and in the future somehow I'll get to Italy, or I'll start my business, or whatever it may be for you. But the truth is, if you're not taking any different actions today, you're not going to have a different future later on. So you really want to be paying attention to what does your day look like? I can't remember who it was, but there's a famous quote that goes, "The secret to your success is found in your daily routine." It's really just those minute daily decisions and daily behaviors that builds your life and creates the foundation for what memories you actually look back on 30 years from now. And so I would just encourage you that if something isn't working in your life, if this isn't the way you want to look back when you're 80 years old, what can you change today? What action can you take that's going to pivot you in that direction? If not change, the whole thing, right? Like, you can always just make one choice today that does that for you. And then tomorrow, make another one. And these can be big or they can be small, but what you do every single day really adds up to what your entire lifetime looks like. And so if you want your day to look like you have travel and you have traveled the world and you've been to 50 countries, you have to start setting yourself up to be able to travel more than maybe corporate America will let you. Or you have to be very intentional about the vacation days that you do get. Maybe you want to start a travel fund where instead of a coffee once a week, you put that in your travel fund, or instead of going out to dinner, you instead of manicures, pedicures, right? Like a travel fund, whatever it can be to divert things in favor of that life that you want. That's what we're after here. And same for if it's like starting a business, like what step can you take? Is it a program that you want to take? Is it a coach you want to invest in? Is it signing up for something that moves you in that direction of becoming your own boss and a business owner? Is it learning from someone who's done that and having them mentor you? All of these things are going to actually then change your life and put you in a different position than you would have been had you just kept recreating the same day over and over and over again. And to point number one, it might be scary. Like, it might feel uncomfortable. It might feel like more than you've ever spent on something, or something you've never done before. You don't feel super confident that's the 100% like best person or course or whatever you could have chosen. But it's not supposed to feel comfortable. It's not supposed to feel comfortable because it's new, and that is a good sign that it's moving you in a different direction than what you would be in had you stayed in the exact same day, routine, place over and over again your whole life, right? And there's nothing wrong with that if you want that. Like, certainly, like some people, I know some of my closest people, like they love the life they've created. They don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to have their own business. But if there's things in you that are pulling you towards that or are calling you to that, this is more meant to be just a gentle nudge of, it's okay if it feels scary. It's okay if it feels like something you've never done before and like it's a risk, because that is just a sign that you're getting out of the current reality that you're creating and you're putting yourself on a new path. So like, kudos to you. That's amazing. You should be so proud of yourself and celebrate it when you do that, because you're gonna need that positive reinforcement of, yeah, like I did it. It was scary. I leapt. I survived. Let me give myself a positive feeling instead of just having the nerves kind of simmer in there, right? Also, a great part is community. So if you can find a community of like-minded people, whether it's travelers or entrepreneurs, that's a great way to start to familiarize yourself with people who think the way you think or who want what you want and are having conversations about how to get it, versus being always in other circles where maybe you do feel like the outsider or the crazy one because no one's talking about the things that you really want. So pay attention to that circle and what your like surroundings are either enforcing and inspiring or like pulling kind of back or just to a different direction. All right? And so the last lesson, so the first one is don't make the nerves wrong. The second one is how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. The third one is the braver we are, the luckier we can be. And I kind of owe Glennon Doyle to this, who's an author, and she just has, she said this amazing thing where certainly every single person has been blessed with different levels of security, of parenting, of education, of ethnicity. It all plays in, right? So it's not to say that like some people don't have it easier, quote unquote, than others from the start. But what I do believe is true is that the more you put yourself in a position to be brave, to take risks, the luckier you can be, because not everyone will take those risks. Not everyone will face that discomfort and go through it anyway. Not everyone will leave the life they've created for the life that they dream of. Not everyone will invest in things, right? Invest in themselves so it can turn into more later. Like, not everyone will want the discomfort of not being able to like do the things that they do every single weekend and investing in a travel fund or investing in their own business. And so for me, like this has been a lesson in a few ways, where even when we left and began, my husband and I, we began to travel like Europe and South America, like everyone would always say, wow, that's amazing. Like, I wish I could do that. And yes, like I wish everyone could, but there was a level of risk to it and like fear, right? Like we sold all of our stuff. Like we didn't have a home. We lived out of a carry-on suitcase and we had little tiny Airbnbs and we stuck to our budget and what we could afford at that time. And so it's definitely amazing, but it did take a risk and it did take getting over that hump of fear. And I think same with starting a business. Like, I have people say to me a lot, like, I would love to do that. Like, I'd love to have something I'm so passionate about, but I make 6 figures. Like, I make a really good salary. I can't just up and leave my nice corporate job. And I totally get it. And maybe for them, that's not right. But I was in that position too. Like, I made 6 figures. I had a nice tech job. I was so comfortable. And that was part of the fear of starting my own thing, where I just, I really had to get over that place of like, I remember thinking, when I first had the ideas of becoming an entrepreneur, like, I can't do that because I finally have the promotion I want, the title I want, the salary I want, the security I want. But it was just those bristles that kept coming back of saying, no, this way, no, there's more. No, the way you want to spend your days is traveling and is working, but then also getting to go out to restaurants in Spain at night or in Italy or Amsterdam. The way you want to spend your weekends is hopping on a $100 flight and seeing somewhere new. Like, that kept pulling me into, yes, it may be risky, and it was. I mean, I lost some money on my first wellness coaching business. That's what I thought to do right out of corporate America, and I did lose some money, but circle back to now, like a few years later, I stuck it out and I pivoted and I figured out, what worked, what didn't. And now, I've more than doubled like that corporate income. Like, I am doing things I'm passionate about. Like, I'm able to travel the way I thought I would. And so this isn't like a bragging on me. And again, it's not saying that I didn't have it easier in some ways, or I had, amazing parents growing up and I loved to learn and stuff like that. So I get that everyone has their own path and journey and is able to afford certain risks. But I do believe that the more risk you take for yourself, whatever that looks like at whatever your life has provided for you, the luckier that you can be. And for me, like, everything that felt incredibly risky, like even investing, this first expensive coaching program that I invested in was $1,000, and then I invested in one that was $10,000 over the phone, and I was terrified. I'd never spent that much on like anything in my life, let alone on myself or my business. But that opened up a whole new world for me. It gave me a community of like-minded entrepreneurs. It taught me to think about mindset and about business and about money and about like abundance and all this stuff in ways that I hadn't even thought of or known was possible for me. It led me to mentors and to authors. It just put me on a whole different path than had I not done it. And so it's really, for me, just a lesson of believing in your hopes over your fears, of knowing that the braver you are, the luckier you can be, that sometimes life, once you say you want something, it puts things in your way to test your commitment, and it says, okay, so you want this, so here's what it's going to take to get it, and do you want it bad enough? And if you don't, that's okay. But if you do, if it keeps returning for you, if it's still there, then it might be worth taking a different action and seeing what that path leads to. And I feel like every investment you make in yourself, you always get back 10x, whether it's financially or in other ways. I just think value given is value received. And so those are all just lessons that I've taken with me, whether it's been traveling, whether it has been entrepreneurship. I would say they are, don't make the nerves wrong. They're not. They're just a sign that you're outgrowing where you are, and that's amazing. You should celebrate it. Like, message me or comment below, because I want to celebrate with you. How we spend our days is how we spend our lives. So what do you want? Get really clear on what you want your dream day to look like, what you want your weekend and your morning routine and your evening routine. What does it look like? How can you start taking one action today and tomorrow to that future self? What can you invest in? Who can you learn from? Who can you surround yourself with? And then the other one would be, the braver we are, the luckier we can be. So yes, it might take fighting through the nerves. It might take like closing your eyes as you register for something. It might take just like being around people that really support you and lift you up, or carving your own path solo, but just knowing that really that line, like value given is value received. And so the braver you are, the luckier life can return things to you, the luckier you can be. And how like amazing is that? So I just feel like, I hope those are helpful. I would love to hear if there's any other lessons you've learned as a traveler in business, if any of these resonate most with you. I will drop some information below if you want to learn more about how I built a 6-figure, copywriting business, and basically help others do the same, right? Like, I run a content marketing agency. I'm a journalism major. I was on the side of hiring copywriters when I was in corporate America, and then now I know what it takes to get hired by them, right? Like, through building my career, and just realized in my agency, like, I loved mentoring people so much, and I loved the feeling of giving them the same freedom to work from anywhere, to build their careers, to mentor them, to be able to charge higher and higher rates. And so it basically just put it all into one program as a way to be able to help more people and be in a community with more people on the same path. So information's below if you want it, but otherwise, thanks for listening, and I'll be back soon with some more ideas for you.